All right, now, everybody. Quiet, listen to me. We're going to start a show. Now, some of you people have been with me before. You know it's going to be a tough grind. But we're going to have a show.
And good morning, everybody. It is on in a big old way, baby. Yeah. Say hi to my darling Kim. You know, Kim.
Good morning.
Has been fighting some junk or something.
Morning.
Yeah. I don't
It's
know
not
exactly.
COVID. The COVID test came back negative.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
But you're feeling a little bit better today, you were saying, right?
Just a little. I probably don't sound better, but yeah, I feel like I've turned a corner.
And Albert is here.
Albert, thank you.
Yes, thank you. He's put together a Florida segment, which apparently is very juicy. So looking forward to that as well. Going to get into all kinds of things today. Politics. I will touch on some law and disorder, major jailbreak, short-lived jailbreak. My color is back. I'm looking pale no more. That's great. Well, wait a minute.
Have you been tanning?
God, I've got a lot of forehead, don't I?
That's not fake. That's real.
If you'd like to buy space for your advertising concerns on my forehead, you've come to the right place. I'm loving it, baby. It's a Friday. Let's rock it. You know, Albert, what I'd really like to do is I'd like to get an update from the commissioner's office. What happened in March Madness? This is the first full week. And I wonder if you could update what went on, if you would, please. Because there was voting until midnight last night, and I know you're checking that voting generally every hour. So review for us who was playing off against each other yesterday, and then let's talk about who won.
Yeah, we had Trump in two separate brackets matchups yesterday. We had Trump light inside go against Grady situation.
Oh, yes.
Supposing you brought the light inside the body.
And then Grady was the situation, yeah.
What he's got going here is a situation.
And who won that?
Well, it's Florida today. It's Friday. Grady won. So
Yeah.
Grady is the Florida sheriff, and he moves
which
on.
was an upset. Grady is a 22 seed, and Trump light inside, who has the past 2 years made it pretty far in the tournament.
Light inside has gone deep, but eliminated in the first round. Wow, yes, you're right. That is an upset.
Yeah, very reflective of the real March Madness. So a lot of high seeds losing here.
Maybe the tide has turned on Trump. You're telling me that our audience that embraces and loves the former president all of a sudden has turned on him? And what was the other Trump-related drop that
he went against Stephen A. Stephen A. Smith, Stephen A. apology.
Oh, yes.
And I wanted to apologize to the Asian community, the Asian American community.
That right, and that went up against which Trump drop?
Never been anything like this.
Oh, I love that drop.
There's never been anything like this.
And who won?
And never been anything beat Stephen A. Smith.
Wow, Stephen A. Man. Well, so much for that.
Out of time. Bye-bye.
So that is what happened with yesterday's bracket.
Yeah,
might
are
have
you
been a
curious
bracket
about
buster.
The updated standings, Mark. Are you curious? Are you worried about your perfect bracket?
Before I get to the updated standings, Albert, and where I stand in March Madness, and if you're just joining us, why am I not wearing the March Madness hat? Wait a minute.
Yeah,
Hold on
where
a
is
second.
it?
Hold on a second.
This is
Excuse me.
ridiculous. I don't know why. I mean, there's only a certain number of days the March Madness hat is applicable. So why he wouldn't have worn that today, I don't know. There you go. Now you're cooking with fire.
I said I would wear the March Madness hat through the entire tournament.
I agree.
Then I didn't wear it today.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
People were excited to see your hair. They said they hadn't seen your hair in God knows how long.
Well, I'm just...
Yeah.
Yes. Well, and if you'd like to sponsor my hair, you may. Where was I? I know where I was. I know exactly where I was. I can't believe it!
March Madness.
We're starting the next round of March Madness, and here's how we do it. You vote for one drop or the other. You do not have to have a bracket. If you are watching right now, or you're listening, or you're watching in replay, You vote for one of these two. Either it's
Good day, sir.
or it's
What can you tell us about the scene?
it's either
Good day, sir.
or
What can you tell us about the scene?
good day, sir, or scene. You can vote until midnight tonight. And people are finding their way to the community section of our YouTube channel, which is where you can vote until midnight tonight. You just click on the coffee mug that says Mark Thompson Show. That'll take you to home, live, video, shorts, and community. And that's the thing you click on, and that's where you can vote. Now, you can vote right now in the YouTube poll. So it's either, again, the Larry King scene.
What can you tell us about the scene?
Or good day, sir.
Good day, sir.
One is going on to the next round. Now, Albert, please, Commissioner, tell me where we stand. I had a perfect bracket so far, but I don't know where I voted. I forget literally what I filled out. I'm pretty sure I'm still perfect right now.
You are still perfect. You are 12-0 here. I took a screenshot of like the first like 20 that we have here. So there's you at the top. There's no loss there.
Wow, that is extraordinary. And I'll remind you, I have not performed super well in earlier iterations. Iterations a ding word.
Ding, yeah, ding it.
Yeah. But can you put it back up there again so it's me, and then who's next? Sayo?
Here, I got it off the side. It's a screenshot, so it's not too clear. But this CBNRORO, and then Sabora Hill, Sayo Jones, William Nilsson, and one of our favorites, Joe Box, is here in the top 5.
Wow, Joe Box
and Little Anthony
is representing. There it is. If you're watching on YouTube, those are all the people who have brackets. So you can see, even though I'm ahead, and again, it's a little bit of a perversion of nature because that's not what happened last year, but even though I'm ahead, I'm only ahead by 1. I mean, you could easily, you blow one and now you're back in the pack. So people are actually rocking pretty good brackets all the way through. 11-1, 10-2. I mean, it's way live for everybody. Wouldn't you say, Commissioner?
Yeah, ignore the guy that says Albert, who's at 9-3. Just disregard that guy. He's just
Albert,
he's just
thank
happy
you.
to be participating.
Oh, wow. Very, very impressive.
So we got an email from Sue Ann.
Mm-hmm.
She says it's very confusing, even though she subscribes to your show.
Yes.
How to find the community anything. She doesn't understand how to find the community section.
Well, I just explained it, but I'll just explain it again. It's really not hard, so don't be intimidated. Take a deep breath. You're watching on YouTube right now. Either you're watching in replay or you're watching live. You click on the little icon that's a coffee mug that says The Mark Thompson Show. That'll bring up our channel. Then, now that you have the channel up, you'll see right there on your screen, you'll see home, you'll see videos, you'll see shorts. It's up here right now. Live, playlists. All these things are just different categories. Live, playlists, community. All right, so right next to playlists, you click on community, and that's where you will be able to vote. It's really not hard. Again, just click on the mug, and you can see Good Day, Sir, and Larry King Scene. They're the things that are up against each other in Mark's Madness right there.
Good day, sir.
Or
What can you tell us about the scene?
okay, so it's one way or the other. That is how you do it. Good luck.
The Mark Thompson Show.
It was Democrats and Republicans going after TikTok. They hate that TikTok, Albert and Kim. They
don't like the dancing. They don't like the captions. Apparently they don't like the rich people complaining they don't get their helicopters either.
They don't. There is that. What Albert is talking about, and that reference, the helicopter reference, is to Sofia Coppola's daughter, whose TikTok series of postings went viral. She was trying to charter a helicopter, and it's pretty funny. I sent it to you a couple of nights ago, I think. Do you can we run it or?
Yes, I can run it. Let me just pull it up
Okay. Anyway, so while Albert's pulling it up, I'll just mention that this is. Let me just give you the serious politics of this, if you will. The serious politics of this is because it comes from China, and China is a repressive, authoritarian regime, as we know, and they are notorious for the ways that they both spy on their own people and spy on others through data sweeps that they do with. The thinking is with TikTok and other apps, they know. That these data sweeps are done on their own people. And so now this app, having originated in China, Chinese company, and because the Chinese companies are essentially, because of communism, owned, or they have a relationship with the Chinese government, it's thought that, and this is why you have Democrats and Republicans, it's bipartisan, it's thought that this leaves Americans vulnerable to giving up a lot of data. Now, let me just say this, and then we'll play the Sophia Coppola thing, because one of the things that's sort of wild about TikTok is all the different, funky stuff on there. Let me just say that this is a convenient political football. The Democrats and Republicans can both go after the evil China, and China is evil in many ways. I've just described a couple of them. They are an authoritarian regime. They are there's a brutality and a repressive quality. I mean, that is a polite way to put it, to the Chinese regime. But that said, Americans are giving up so much data to American companies that it's almost laughable to me that we draw this line with China. I mean, Instagram and Facebook, you'll remember I told you a while ago, how often, do you recall the answer? Is Facebook tracking your location? You're on Facebook. Probably most of you are on Facebook. You have Facebook accounts, or you check in on Facebook. You look at your grandkids, you look at your children, you look at, this is us, this is my 45th birthday, whatever it may be on Facebook. It's innocent enough. That app is tracking your location every 5 seconds. Now, you don't think that's invasive? We give up so much data when we agree to the various terms and conditions that, to me, it's kind of comical that Republicans and Democrats take their victory lap as they beat up on TikTok. So we had Rich DeMuro on yesterday. Thanks again, Kim, for having kind of made that happen. Rich is a great mind on tech. And I asked him point blank, tell me about TikTok. Tell me how vulnerable we are. And he said it. He said, I don't know. He said, I haven't seen anything in the app that would suggest sort of the evil, underhanded spirit of any of the data that we're surrendering. So, anyway, that's a word on TikTok from the purely political standpoint. Now, they may force the sale of TikTok to an American company, but there are other Chinese apps that are out there as well, none as big as TikTok. But I wonder what you're going to do. Are you going to force foreign companies to sell to American companies whenever they become popular based on data vulnerability? I don't know. I don't mean to speak on behalf of the Chinese per se, but I also want to be objective about the actual vulnerability versus the politics of it. I understand how it's a political win to go after the Chinese. But, all right, Albert, now, again, this is Sofia Coppola's daughter, and it has gone viral because of what she says and her clear, her parents trying to keep her from being a spoiled brat. But apparently, she may already be close to that finish line. Here we go.
She's 16.
Make vodka sauce pasta with me because I'm grounded, because I tried to charter a helicopter from New York to Maryland on my dad's credit card because I wanted to have dinner with my girlfriend. Okay, let's get started. I don't know the difference between a garlic and an onion, and I just had Google images of onions on my phone, and I'm embarrassed. Also, I thought I would do this since I'm already grounded, because my parents' biggest rule is like I'm not allowed to have any public social media accounts. Here's why. It's because they don't want me to be a nepotism kid. But TikTok's not going to make me famous, so it doesn't really matter. But is this an onion? Because I feel like this doesn't look like an onion. This looks like the inner workings of. And this, yes, we're on. And this is Ari, my babysitter's boyfriend, because my parents are never home, so these are my replacement parents. I almost put the house down. What do you think about the helicopter fiasco?
Oh, I like fiasco because it's like a feminine form fiasco.
Oh,
like
it's on the
this you can't really, if you're listening and not watching, you're going to have trouble hearing. What they've done is sped this up because of the limitations of, I think it may have been an Instagram story originally, Albert, or a TikTok. You can tell me, but it was sped up for reasons of trying to compact it all into a limited time. Might have been a YouTube short. I don't know. But
telling
bottom
you.
line is, unless you're watching it, it's a little hard to make out. But she was in she was in timeout or something because she tried to charter a helicopter a couple of times.
Talk about that's rich. She tried to charter a helicopter to Maryland, from New York to Maryland on her dad's credit card so she could have dinner with a friend from camp. So she gets busted for that. And then she's like, well, the hell with it. I'm already in trouble. I might as well make a TikTok video, which they had said, you do not get to have social media. You're not allowed to have that. So she's like, well, screw it. I'm already busted. So then she goes on TikTok and she makes this video where she can't make sauce because she doesn't know the difference between onion and garlic. She can't, she's holding up her dad's Grammy Award. Yeah. Sister's in trouble for a while.
Yeah. I didn't know that he won a Grammy Award.
Apparently he did.
That was what I...
What?
Yeah, that's what I got from it.
Never been anything like this.
She says TikTok's not going to make me famous, and of course, this goes viral.
Yeah, I guess she's on her way to fame. All right.
The Mark Thompson Show.
Meantime, I wanted to mention something else going on in the Bay Area in California. I got an email or two from Randy, who's very active in our chat. I don't know if he's in there today. But one of his pet peeves is the conversion that's required from gas heat to electric. You know how they're actually asking for retrofitting. The total cost to swap out gas heat for electric is much higher, it is suggested, than is represented. You know, Bay Area regulators voted to phase out gas furnaces and water heaters over the coming years, and they've actually, I think, provided a credit for those who have to do it because it does cost money. The new regulations prohibit the sale or installation of water heaters and furnaces that emit nitrogen oxides, and those sales or installation of water heaters will be prohibited after 2027 and 2029, respectively. It means that existing homes have to transition to electric water heaters and heat pumps. The only appliances that comply with the zero nitrogen oxide standards would be the electric water heaters and the electric heat pumps. And they apply this to new construction as well. So the cost of installing a heat pump, they say, can vary widely. And this is what Randy says a lot in our, he writes me all the time, Mark, you don't talk about this, and how come nobody does, and, Bay Area media doesn't, and you don't see it in the papers, you don't see it in the... And he's probably right about this, but you are seeing more about this. Here's an article in the Chronicle. Cost of installing a heat pump can vary widely from $7,000 to more than $20,000, according to various studies and data collected from completed projects. Cost for electric water heaters can range from $2,000 to $7,000. Staff from the Bay Area Air Quality Management District, the agency that, is behind the zero nitrogen regulations, they presented average compliance costs at their approval hearing last week. They said $8,000 for a heat pump and $2,800 for an electric water heater. Those estimates come from a 2021 study from the Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory. They took data from almost 2,000 projects in 15 states, including California, and they adjusted it for inflation, etc. The same study also published average installation costs for gas appliances. $5,000 for a gas furnace, $1,900, almost $2,000 for a gas water heater. So they're saying, hey, it's less expensive to go electric, sort of. But now those numbers are being disputed. So there are all kinds of impact analyses, and this Bay Area Air Quality Management District, they have their own numbers. This is a really controversial thing. So they looked at cost estimates for California specifically, because our stuff is more expensive, right? $7,000 to $20,000 for a heat pump, depending on the type, and $3,000 to $4,700 for a heat pump water heater. Gas furnaces in existing homes cost about $2,000 to $2,600. Gas furnaces in new construction would cost between $3,700 to $5,700, according again to this same study. And the question comes, why didn't you guys present that information? Those numbers are way higher than the information that you presented. And they are squishy about the response. Anyway, this is going to be something that will be revised, in my view. That is a point that I have made occasionally here on this issue. I also, as I mentioned, there's a credit involved, and it's, I believe, probably insufficient to cover the costs, but these conversions are important, and they are a priority. And I believe that those credits will be revised. I really do. And I saw in the chat, I think, Kim, I saw in the chat yesterday or the day before when this came up, and this guy Randy brings this up all the time. Somebody else made that point. Hey, they'll revise this, and they will.
I hope so.
Yeah. The average total project cost before incentives was $18,842.
Ooh.
Yeah. Out of almost 10,000 heat pumps installed with this Tech Clean funding. It's a statewide organization that also gives you rebates for electric appliance conversions. Okay, that's Tech Clean. Tech Clean California, they're called. Out of 10,000 of their heat pump installations with Tech Clean, the average total project cost was $18,000, almost $19,000. And they give you a total incentive of about $3,500. So you can see there's a huge gap there.
Yeah.
So, again, tax credits, rebates, I believe these will change. I mean, $1,000 rebate doesn't begin to get you close to your price tag. Yeah, it also would affect the sale price of older homes that need conversion prior to or after the sale of the home. That's right. Immortal Tiger is right about that. So, I mention this all for two reasons. A, Randy is a regular viewer. I don't think he's here today. But
it was the perfect day for Randy. Yeah.
Randy had it. But he'll come back on Monday and go, how come you guys never talk about this? But anyway,
this is a man with anger. This is a man that has resentment towards you.
That could be too. Anyway, I think it's a legit question and a legit proposal. I'm also behind the swap out. I'm supportive of the swap out, but I do believe that the numbers are going to have to change, and I think they will change. And I guess that's what I have indicated on here before, but we've never done anything of a deep dive. I'm sure it will come up again. Albert, I ask you, can I do some quick law and disorder? Is it possible?
The Mark Thompson Show.
How about a little law and disorder?
In the criminal justice system, the people,
Pimps, addicts, thieves, bums, winos, girls who can't keep an address, and men who don't care.
are represented by two separate yet equally important groups.
A cop, a flatfoot, a bull, a dick, John Law, you're the fuzz, the heat, you're poison, you're trouble, you're bad news.
These are their stories.
2 inmates tunnel out of a Virginia jail. I love it. You know, I love a caper. They escaped from Newport News, Virginia's jail. What was their first stop? Where would you stop first if you had just escaped from a jail? You just had tunneled out. El Chapo style. You made your way out. Where would you go? Your first day of freedom. You also have to stay away from the cops, right? They're looking for you. You're 2 wanted fugitives.
If you were in Florida, that's an obvious answer. You go to Waffle House.
Well, this is it, and I think people by now probably know. Whole Foods, says Grady. I love that. That's a strong... Yeah. The answer indeed is IHOP, everyone. So if you guessed IHOP, you do get awarded points. 2 men who escaped from a jail in Newport News, Virginia, were recaptured less than 12 hours later at an IHOP 1 city over. It seems like, again, bad plan to just go one city over, you know?
At that point, you just stay in the same city because it's like so close. They wouldn't even expect it, you know?
Exactly. You'd be better off because no one would expect it. But they must have really wanted IHOP. That's my...
Huh.
They're like, I just really wanted a stack of pancakes.
Dude, I'm jonesing for IHOP. They disappeared in the evening around 7:15. Strong time to leave, you know, as darkness descends on the jailhouse. They found that the two men had tunneled through a cell wall leading to the exterior. Then they scaled the security wall, according to the authorities.
That's an awful lot of trouble for pancakes.
They
right?
They used apparently a primitive form of tools. The tools are made out of a toothbrush and a metal object, and they tunneled through the wall using those.
Ooh, it's a wild idea, but it just might work.
Well, there is that. Those tools facilitated their access to untied rebars between the walls.
That's not fake. That's real.
And facilitated is a ding word. It was 4:20 in the morning that the two inmates were found at
Where are
IHOP.
my weed smokers at?
Yeah, they were probably lost in the midst of the weed smokers who show up at IHOP at 4 a.m.
Yeah, maybe IHOP was the only option at that point, you know?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Not too many things open at that time.
It was about 2 hours and 15 minutes when traveling by foot, which is the way they were going, from the jailhouse. So they walked for 2 hours and 15 minutes from the jailhouse, and then they stopped at the IHOP. Yeah.
Bunch of dummies.
Yeah.
They kept going. They needed sustenance.
Yeah, it was a bad plan. It really was. I do not have any respect for a bad plan like that, I have to say. An American, you can always count on us Americans, a tourist, 43 years old, fined for driving his Ferrari into the Piazza della Signoria in Florence, Italy.
No.
Yeah, this is a place where, you know, you have to have some respect for the monuments there. Sometimes we Americans are a bit on the showy side, if you know what I mean. It was a red Ferrari, probably still is, and he drove the red sports car into the Piazza del Signoria, where pedestrians are often walking in this historic city center.
Yeah, you can't drive there. You're not supposed to go.
Once again, giving Americans a good name everywhere we go. That's what they're going to remember. Of course, it was an Americano, yes. Over 1,000 objects in the Mets collection, not the New York Mets, the Metropolitan Art Museum in New York. More than 1,000 objects in that collection have ties to people allegedly involved in crimes related to the Antiquities trade. This is a new report that has looked at all of these different objects that end up in these different museums, the Metropolitan Museum of Art among them. At least 1,109 pieces in the Met's collection were previously owned by individuals who've been indicted or convicted of crimes, including looting and trafficking. Of those objects, fewer than half have records available that detail how they left their countries of origin. Many of the objects in the Met's collection have clear links to individuals who've been implicated in the looting or trafficking of antiquities.
Ooh, it's a wild idea, but it just might work.
It did work for a while. You know, a lot of these objects go back to the 1950s. In fact, most of them probably do. And that was when you could do a lot more smuggling and there was a lot less oversight than there is today. I wonder what's going to happen. I mean, will they try to find the provenance of these various pieces and return them? Provenance is a ding word. Anyway, when you're in New York at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, you may very well be looking at looted art. And that, my friends, is law and disorder for today.
Hold
now
on.
would be a good time to play the close.
I'm looking.
Well, okay.
Tune in again next time for more Law and Disorder on the Mark Thompson Show.
All right, that's it. Let's roll. Hey, let's be careful out there.
Just saying, when I'm winding it down and when I say, that, my friends, by the time, if you look at the time, that's probably the last story I'm doing. That might be the time to look for the close. That's all I'm saying. So I
It's fantastic.
All right, maybe some people liked it. All right, whatever. We live out loud here, unvarnished. All right, I'll remind you, Kim's News upcoming, Friday Fabulous Florida still to come, Avila and Shore on politics, and Michael Snyder, the culture blaster, will give us all things movies. We're in the middle of a very tough showdown in Mark's Madness. Let me quickly review it, and then we'll review the voting. The commissioner will review the voting in a moment after Kim's News. It's either...
Good day, sir.
Or...
What can you tell us about the scene?
You vote for...
What can you tell us about the scene?
Or...
Good day, sir.
One of the two. You vote live in YouTube. This is Mark's Madness. We play these drops off against each other, and we won't stop till we get to a champion. Mark Thompson Show.
The Mark Thompson Show.
Kim,
Wait a
you're
minute.
muted. Just okay, you're good.
Wait a minute. Oh, there it is. I'm Kim McAllister on the Mark Thompson Show. This report could be sponsored by you. If you're interested in sponsorship opportunities, email us at themarkthompsonshow@gmail.com. Okay, let's start with actually, my apologies. Let's start with reports saying that Iran proxy forces have launched 7 rockets targeting a U.S. base in Syria today. No casualties or damage to that base have been reported. Former President Trump has posted a picture. This is the Trudeau.
This
Biden.
is
So let's
Trudeau
go to
and
this.
Biden. Now, there's Trump, and go ahead. And that's
Let's
the
go to this.
prosecutor in New York, yeah.
That's the prosecutor in New York. Look at the picture that he posted today.
He literally posted that him holding a baseball bat?
Yeah.
With the,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So former President Trump posting a picture of himself holding a baseball bat next to a photo of the Manhattan DA's head. Trump also warned there could be violence if he ends up being indicted by a New York City grand jury. Democrat DA Alvin Bragg weighing whether to ask a grand jury to indict Trump in connection with an alleged payment to adult film actress Stormy Daniels to stay quiet about an affair. So when he says Trump, there could be violence if he's indicted, does he mean he would be committing the violence or protesters on his behalf?
Well, please, he doesn't actually want to get his hands dirty. He's got people to do that.
But I mean, it's amazing that you could put a picture up like this and not have any consequence.
Well, it's the new America, Kim. We're a country without consequence.
A little fuzzy, this picture, but this is President Biden meeting with Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau in Ottawa. The two leaders met on Parliament Hill today. They are expected to discuss a range of issues, including immigration, the war in Ukraine, China, and modernizing NORAD. Biden, just before the meeting, said the two countries have no fundamental difference in their democratic values. The Republican-led House has approved an education bill that Democrats say makes it easier to ban books about LGBTQ students. The bill would mandate public schools make easier, the bill would mandate public schools make class curriculums, reading lists, library books, and school budgets available online. It would also require schools receiving federal funding to get parental consent before changing a minor's gender markers, pronouns, or preferred name on school materials. The parent would have to okay that. Some teachers in Northern California planning to walk out this morning. This in the Oakland area where teachers are holding a bit of a rally, you could say. I think I have a picture of it. A little fuzzy, but yeah, the teachers are holding a rally. They're walking out today. Here's a photo. They will reportedly leave at least 14 Oakland schools, hold a rally and a march. The move meant to show that they are willing to stand up to the district and vote for a bigger strike if necessary. It's kind of a mini threat strike. The educators claim officials are bargaining in bad faith as they fight for a new union contract. No word how the shakeup will affect classes, but schools are staying open today in Oakland anyway. There is a new push to offer free condoms at every public high school in California. State Senator Caroline Menjivar.
You have to be a student, Albert. You can't just go by and pick them up for free.
No.
Yeah, you got to be a student. Go ahead, Kim.
They say they want to remove the shame some students feel in asking for protection. The goal is to increase access for sexually active teens in hopes of preventing unwanted pregnancies and sexually transmitted infections. The bill goes before a Senate committee next week.
This is a word from the Lord, and he's not happy.
Well, it's the Lord's children that are behind this potential program. So there's that. That's Alec Baldwin, it looks like.
It is Alec Baldwin because lawyers for Alec Baldwin are accusing prosecutors handling his Rust shooting case of being unethical and politically motivated. The Santa Fe District Attorney in New Mexico announced Andrea Reeb was hired as special prosecutor to handle the case in August of last year involving the death of cinematographer Helena Hutchins. Baldwin's lawyers filed new documents dismissing their attempt to remove Reeb while seeming to outline potential future motions as well. And remember, they're
not wrong, by the way. I mean, they're not wrong about the fact that were it not Alec Baldwin, I doubt you'd see this case moving forward, with a manslaughter charge.
But because it is him, they feel like they have to hold him accountable.
Yeah, I mean, make him an example, whatever it might be. But, yeah, anyway.
Tennessee, this is a fancy place. Remember the winner of the Powerball jackpot? His name is Edwin Castro. Well, now he bought this massive house in Los Angeles. Now he's bought another second house. This is real estate records show Edwin Castro just bought a $4 million home in Altadena, northeast of Los Angeles. It's right near the gas station where he bought the winning ticket in November, worth more than $2 billion.
That's just his Tuesday home?
Yeah. I mean, if you had $2 billion, you could have a house for every day of the week.
I might do that. Yeah.
I mean, why not?
I like this guy's style. This
nice pool. You got in the mountains in the background, some palm trees.
Party like a rock star.
Yes, indeed. This show is crowdfunded. We are so grateful to you for anything that you can contribute to The Mark Thompson Show. You can find it at themarkthompsonshow.com, the Patreon, the PayPal, and of course, the Super Chat live here on YouTube. I'm Kim McAllister on The Mark Thompson Show.
It's fantastic.
The Mark Thompson Show.
Who's Mark Thompson?
Thompson, party of four.
And this is their new hoax.
A werewolf can kill a vampire. Did you know that?
I have a busy week.
Right on, everybody. It is our big Friday show. Glad you could be with us. And we are in the middle of what looks to be, now the going is getting tougher, but it looks to be one of the more competitive showdowns in Mark's Madness.
Now, I can't believe it! Mark's Madness.
Come on. This is a good one this hour. You vote for either
Good day, sir.
Or
what can you tell us about the scene?
Yeah, this is a tough one. Again, either
Good day, sir.
Or
what can you tell us about the scene?
You can vote live in the YouTube chat now and until midnight tonight in the community section of our YouTube channel. Good luck! And a guy who is usually pretty competitive, Commissioner. Don't you think John Daly's pretty competitive usually in Mark's Madness because he knows these drops pretty intimately?
He knows the drops better, and he's actually changed up his strategy. I think last week he said his previous brackets were chosen with his heart. He chose his favorites, but at this point, your favorites don't always win, so you got to pick what the people want.
That the commissioner's office just dropped some knowledge on you, and that's right. John Daly has found God on the Mark's Madness strategy. Maybe you will too. Welcome in him. He joins us for Friday Fabulous Florida. John Daly, everybody. Yeah.
Hey,
look at John with his Mark Thompson Show mug. John, how are things on the outside?
Good. It's days like today that you probably miss Chris on the board.
Albert giving us the 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000 on the Law and Disorder close.
In his defense, it's not easy. It's never easy in this business. There's a lot to scroll through.
It is
My
true.
bad. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I did change my strategy, but I messed up because in solidarity with Albert, I voted against the producer drop. And I realized that was the Achilles heel. And that's when things started going downhill. So now I'm 10 and 2. So
that's pretty strong. 10 and 2.
Yeah.
Very
Light inside the body, I thought was going to make it.
Yeah, light inside the body lost out to
Situation.
Situation. Yeah. Grady, right? Indeed. Speaking of Grady, speaking of things from the Sunshine State, on Fridays we like to feature news from the state that never disappoints, always serving up a little something offbeat. This is Friday Fabulous Florida.
It's time for Friday Fabulous Florida.
There is a gigantic alligator in my kitchen.
A look at the weirdest stories from our weirdest state.
We've got it all today. We've got gators. We've got fast food.
Ooh,
we've got lying. We've got fleeing the authorities. We've got guns. It's all in Florida today, and we will try to get to as much.
There's never been anything like this.
As we possibly can. I will start with the man accused of slapping a woman across the face with a slice of pizza. It happened during a heated argument. Or that's for the pizza. Yeah. Ortelio Lazaro Alfonso apparently carried out the bizarre attack during a possible disturbance. That's usually when these slap fests get underway. The person who was the slappee, Kim, accused Alfonso, who's 39 years old, of striking her with the slice on the left side of her face during a feud.
Oh, you don't want to get hit on the left side.
No. That is when you know that things are descending to a really bad place.
That's disrespectful.
The man became upset, and then she apparently smacked somebody else who's in the house on their bottom, as they say. Pizza sauce was splashed on the victim's shirt.
Wait, what kind of party was this? Like a pillow fight?
Yeah, I mean, it could go either way. There's a sexual tension going on there, too. She had the remnants of pizza in her hair and near her ear, and sauce was splattered everywhere. My God. It was on the walls and the ceiling of the kitchen, according to the affidavit. He was charged with battery and later released from custody. A Florida man is accused of driving 100 miles an hour to get his girlfriend to an interview at Taco Bell. Yeah, you don't want to be late for those Taco Bell interviews. Why call ahead and say you're running late when you can drive 100 miles an hour in the 40-mile-an-hour zone?
Usually you have to speed on the way home.
I get it.
Because it's Taco Bell.
Thank you.
That's why it's funny.
100 miles an hour in a 40-mile-an-hour zone, but it wasn't just that. The thing that is Florida about this is there were 3 children inside the car. Yeah.
And the guy had a suspended license.
Oh, my gosh. That is the hat trick.
Well, they do serve breakfast now for the kids.
The man, later identified as 22-year-old Javon Jackson, told the cops that he was speeding to get his girlfriend to a job interview at Taco Bell. Yeah.
I'm
guessing wanted that discount.
I'm guessing she didn't get the job.
He was pulled over at, the area of DeGroot Road and Gate Street in the Palm Bay area. Are you familiar with that, John?
Oh, yeah. It's right by the Whole Foods.
Florida man is spotted hand-feeding an alligator while relaxing in a stream.
Wait, hand feeding or feeding a hand?
Yeah, well, it starts as hand feeding and it ends up feeding a hand. It is illegal, by the way, and you probably know this if you're a frequent visitor to Friday Fabulous Florida, to feed the gators, okay? It's illegal to feed alligators there. And here he is in YouTube while he's relaxing in the stream, giving a piece of pork from his pork loin sandwich to the alligator. And then the alligator swam away. Yeah. That could go any number of ways. A lot of them are not good.
The alligator's probably like, I'll be back.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you for getting my digestion started. A wanted man who fled from arrest was taken into custody. This is in Largo, Florida. Pinellas County law enforcement. They tracked down a man who eluded the deputies. According to the sheriff, they nailed 40-year-old Kenneth Emery around 9:20 in the morning. He learned, the sheriff did, that Emery was wanted for petty theft. Tried to arrest him, but he fled on foot. I love that. He was seen northbound on Seminole Boulevard with one handcuff around his wrist.
Ooh, it's a wild idea, but it just might work.
Deputies from Pinellas and Pasco counties, they closed in on him.
Oh, it's a joint
Searched
effort
for him. Took several hours, though, before they nailed him. In fact, they were unable to locate him at the time. A day goes by, and they locate him and take him into custody. Doesn't seem like they're the sharpest.
Well, and conveniently,
There's a reason that this place is fun.
He still had the handcuffs, right? So that's convenient.
He had one handcuff on and one handcuff, yeah. An armed Florida man in a devil mask is stopped by strip club security guards.
What?
That's what I said.
Sounds like
Florida police. Florida cops are thanking several strip club security guards for preventing a potential mass shooting. Wow, this is a serious story. They blocked a man with a loaded gun who was wearing a devil mask. He was trying to get into the club, and in dramatic surveillance video that was released by the Tampa Police Department, 44-year-old Michael Rudman can be seen wearing a red and black devil mask, and he tried to get into the strip club. He allegedly
word from
walked,
the Lord.
Yeah,
This is a word from the Lord, and he's not happy.
The devil masks don't go over well with the Lord. He allegedly walked toward the entrance of the venue with a firearm in one hand and a flashlight in the other. And the cops thank the security guard outside the club, who's 55 years old, a guy named Manuel Anthony Resto. He goes by the nickname Manny, apparently. He spotted the guy, thought it was a prank. And then he started thinking, wait a minute. And this is a quote, "I've worked security for 30 years. I know a lot of bouncers. I thought it was one of my friends playing a trick on me, and he didn't say a word. I was waiting for the punchline, and then all of a sudden, he came right up to me, and he was a very big man, very big. I saw him raise his hand, and he had a gun. When Resto saw the firearm, he moved to stop him, knocked the weapon out of his hand. Surveillance video shows the devil masked gunman fought with Resto. Resto grabbed the gun and pointed it at Rudman. I concentrated, he says. I concentrated on the gun. I grabbed his gun and his wrist with both hands. I turned it toward him, and then we started, banging around. What I wanted to do was get him on the ground and get the gun away from him. That was what I was trying to do. A single round from the gun was discharged. It hit the front door of the club. No one was hurt."
That's an issue with Halloween, people bringing masks to the bars. Because think about it, you're on video, but if everybody's wearing a mask and they got a weapon.
You can see the entire encounter. You can see Albert's put up a couple of stills on our YouTube channel right now. pretty scary. Really is.
Good old Manny.
Manny, it's weird that Manny went first to, well, it's a practical joke, you know. But
I would
guess
have been like, hey, there's a cover charge, sir. The 2-drink minimum.
There were 200 people inside the club, by the way.
Well, he's probably never seen anything like this before.
There is...
There's never been anything like this.
A Florida man threatened to bomb Papa John's. Is there anything less American? It's just unreal. And he was doing it while ordering a pizza. Yeah, he was arrested after allegedly threatening to bomb a Papa John's when he became frustrated while ordering this pizza. It was 1:30 in the afternoon. It was in Lakeland, Florida, about 35 miles east of Tampa is where Lakeland is. An employee got into this argument on the phone with a customer who referred to himself as Jay, and he hung up. Man later identified as 24-year-old Johnny Vega. It's a great name, Johnny Vega.
Yeah, that's a Florida
Sounds like
name.
a lounge singer name.
Or a Vegas name, yeah.
Yeah. He called back, threatened to kill the employee, and said he can bomb the store. Well, that's I don't know if
it's a wild idea, but it just might work.
I think it's not a very good idea.
What?
It's unclear what caused Vega and the employee to begin arguing. The employee gave Vega's name, phone number, and address to the cops. Vega denied ever calling the restaurant when the cops arrived, but the reality is, of course, you can just check
My
your
bad.
phone.
I'm sorry.
A man has stolen groceries in Florida.
Uh-oh.
And he took them from the Dollar Tree. Is there anything less
It was wrong,
American?
it was stupid, and I'm trying to be a better person.
He's from Fort Myers, Florida, walked into the Dollar Tree in Estero Town Commons. He went to the food aisles, gingerly placed items in his shopping cart, amassed about 26 food items, they say, walked out of the store, past the register, through the doors. Well, that is a pretty solid plan, I have to say. You know, you get the stuff.
It's a wild idea, but it just might work.
That just might work. San Francisco, it would work. You put
but if you go to the dollar
cart.
store, it's just a misdemeanor. You know, if you go to Whole Foods, it's a felony.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You got to pick your store carefully. So this was not a covert operation. It was all right there in plain sight. There he is, looking a little tired. John Rizzolo, 20 years old. The manager stopped him and said, you know, you got to pay for those. He said he's not going to. And there was an altercation. Rizzolo lunged 3 times at him with a knife. And the manager called the cops. And Rizzolo was charged with aggravated assault, as you might imagine. So
I kind of feel like if you're that desperate that you need 26 items from the Dollar Tree, take it. Go ahead.
Well, I agree. It's a little Les Miserables for me. You know, there's a whole stealing the piece of bread because you need it, and Javert chases you down. In this case, the manager would be Javert. I'm going to grant you that there might be more here underlying this story, but that's not what we're about, Kim. We're about the lunging with a knife. And even in Les Miserables, the guy didn't have a knife. Yeah, there was not, you know. So I think
There's
once
no
the
dollar
knife
store
is introduced.
either. If that was a dollar store in Les Miserables, it's a totally different story.
Yes, right. And that might be the upgrade for if they ever reboot Les Miserables. Make it a dollar store, you know. I'm just suggesting.
Like like one of those live action on ABC.
Yeah, right. Thank you. Exactly. So, and finally, in the Florida legislature, and you might have seen this because it's been around for a couple of days, it took us all the restraint that we could muster not to run this a couple of days ago. In the Florida legislature, they were testifying in committee, you know how they do, and they had their Phil McCracken moment. You know, the
Phil McCracken.
Yeah.
Phil McCracken.
They indicate, you know, who is speaking and who will. They call them out by name because you register on a list. Albert, please share the magic from Florida.
Florida Station of Counties waves in opposition. Pamela Birch Fort, Florida State Conference of NAACP branches waves in opposition. Anita Dick is an opponent. Waves in opposition. Holden Hiscock is also an opponent. Waves in opposition.
What?
Jimmy, only Jimmy, Florida Apartment Association. Key, Florida Station.
There it is. Yeah.
Wow.
They had their moment. They had their...
I leaned over.
Yeah.
I leaned over.
Right, yeah. They had the I leaned over moment there. And with that, my friends, that is Friday Fabulous Florida for today.
This has been Friday Fabulous Florida.
There is a gigantic alligator in my kitchen.
Y'all come back now here.
We don't want to do it, but the bylaws of Friday Fabulous Florida require it. That we pick a favorite. And you can indicate what your favorite is in the chat. I'll review for you what we've just heard. The Florida man accused of slapping a woman across the face with a slice of pizza. There was sauce and pieces of pizza in her hair and all over the walls and ceiling. A Florida man accused of driving 100 miles an hour with kids in the car.
This is
to get to a Taco Bell interview for his girlfriend. There he is.
Yeah.
After the arrest, a Florida man spotted hand feeding an alligator while he was relaxing in a stream. There it is. All of these images may remind you the danger, the delight. It's all right there.
If they're not dead, they're going to be dead soon enough.
Well, yeah, they're living on the edge. I will grant you that.
If they stay in that water any longer,
Yeah,
it'll
right?
expedite the process.
I
They're
think
going to be
it's
in
fair.
another story.
They
Stay
really
tuned.
don't understand what they're getting into.
You just don't get it, do you?
You don't.
You don't.
You don't get it. The wanted man who fled from arrest, later taken into custody. That was the guy who ran away on foot. The armed Florida man in the devil mask who was stopped by the heroic strip club security guard. The Florida woman. I didn't get to the McDonald's story, did I, Albert? Oh, sorry about that. Well, for next time. The Florida man who threatened to bomb a Papa John's while ordering a pizza because he got into an altercation with the person on the phone about his order. A man stealing groceries, Les Miserables style, from the dollar store, and he pulled a knife on the manager. And then finally, the Florida legislator, where Anita Dick and Holden Hiscock were both
You have some drops there, Albert. You want to cut those?
They were both there.
Phil McCracken.
Yes.
Phil McCracken.
They were both waiting to testify. Yeah.
I bet they were.
Now, I need to come up with a favorite. As I say, let's turn to you, visiting producer John Daly.
I have to go with Taco Bell because, sometimes you really want that friends and family discount.
Okay, the guy was going 100 miles an hour to get the Taco Bell. Wow.
Plus, it's like romantic, right?
It is. He did it
Except
for his
endangering
girlfriend.
the children.
Yeah, that's a good... Kim, how about you?
I have to do it. I'm going Gator.
Yeah, the Gator. That was really, really playing with fire, the Gator people.
Yeah.
Albert, how about you?
I kind of do like the Taco Bell story just because, like John said, everything about it was romantic except for literally like everything about it. But probably Papa John's just so I can say better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
Albert, thank you.
I'm going to go for... I'm caught between something that's not particularly Florida, which is the legislature where they kind of get pranked. I really love that. But it's not Florida. There's nothing about it that's essentially Florida. Even though
more
I
like
love
Bart
the story.
Simpson.
Yeah, exactly. It's more like Bart Simpson. So this is a tough one. Now, the reptile, super Florida, the man threatening to bomb Papa John's is just so crazy and stupid. And then saying that he didn't ever call Papa John's when it's right there on his phone. That's Florida. Yeah.
The beauty of that is that they already had his address and his name and his phone number. So go away.
Right.
But
you're going to get away with bombing Papa John's when we already know who you are?
Yeah.
And they know his topping preferences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a very tough one this week, I have to say. I'm going to go with feeding the alligator here. Yeah, I just feel like that's Florida. It's just maybe because it's the alligator. But I don't know what they did in the chat come down on. Was there consensus at all? I see Taco Bell.
It was a good mix of a lot. The pizza slap was in there. Of course, we didn't mention that. The gator, lots of gators. And then a lot of people were with you, Mark, about the legislature.
Yeah, very, very tough one. Really
lots
good.
of food in Florida this week.
Yeah, fast food, and I actually left out a fast food story. We'll do it for next week. John, thank you as always. I know you have a real job with real benefits, and
Mark, let me just say it's an honor to be here on the John Rothman program. So I just want to thank you and thank Kim and Albert.
That's a reference to yesterday. Oh,
burn!
What?
That really was.
Her fill-in job was great. She was doing so well, and then it all came crashing down.
Oh,
they do this to me all the time. I don't know what the hell they do it for.
Fabulous producer John Daly.
If you'll remember. Yesterday, John, it was 2 days ago, actually, I think now.
Kim it was 2 days ago. Can we just leave it 2 days ago? Can we leave it?
No, because I listen every day.
That's right.
You're welcome.
Fabulous producer John Daly.
I am.
Kim, how are you?
I am.
Kim, how are you?
I'm impressed most of the time by Kim's work.
Kim, how are you?
It just. Anyway, John, we love you. Come back next Friday, will you?
Okay, I will.
Or not.
The Mark Thompson Show.
We have Kim's News and then Avila and Shore on the Week in Politics. We'll talk about what's going on in New York with Trump and more. Mark Thompson Show.
I'm Kim McAllister on the Mark Thompson Show. The driver of a stolen SUV is behind bars after a chase in the East Bay. Police say officers were trying to stop this suspect last night in the Contra Costa County town of Rodeo, but lost the vehicle. By the time they found it, the driver had allegedly slammed into another car, killed a person, and then took off. Details are still sketchy as investigators piece together exactly what happened there, but witnesses say it is very unusual in their small, quiet neighborhood. Another San Francisco high-rise repairing a broken window. Fox Plaza was issued a notice of violation yesterday. This makes 6 buildings now where inspectors have found windows damaged or blown out after Tuesday's bomb cyclone storm. The president, yeah, I know. The president of the Board of Supervisors says it's a miracle that no one was injured or killed. He plans to introduce legislation in just days to mandate engineering reports for all downtown buildings. The end is near for one of the most famous houseboats in Sausalito. It suffered severe damage after being thrown around in that powerful storm Tuesday. Now the Taj Mahal houseboat is sinking. Photos online show it's flooded up to the main floor. The caretaker confirms they tried to save it with pumps and divers in the water, but they say it'll only get worse. He says, unfortunately, it will have to be demolished. Sayonara.
For those who don't, it's
sayonara, sucker.
Sayonara, sucker. Oh, there, everybody. I have to say, for those who don't know, there is a houseboat community in Sausalito that's extraordinary. I mean, some of these boats are remarkable, as you say, like this one included, I guess. But the damage in a storm along the lines of what we've just experienced, I guess, is just too substantial for them to survive, some of them.
Too much. The Taj Mahal is a goner, it looks like.
Yeah.
The Oakland Zoo is on the hunt for 3 exotic birds. 6 of them escaped when heavy winds sent a large tree crashing down on their aviary Tuesday and ripped the netting. Workers found 3 birds yesterday. They'll be back out with nets and cages today, trying to find the rest, including an endangered African hooded vulture. The good news is that they're still at the zoo, which remains closed during the storm damage. Shares of Netflix are gaining significantly this week on strong growth from the company's ad-supported streaming service. So subscriptions for that tier reached the 1 million active user mark just 2 months after it was launched. The Los Gatos-based streaming giant also projecting encouraging numbers for its foray into mobile video games.
And this is their new hoax.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that it's always interesting when there's additional revenue coming into something like Netflix, which has sort of been worked on a simple monthly subscription platform, right? Yeah. That it helps the stock. I guess they feel with more money coming in that, it feeds the bottom line. What is suggested is that, fewer Netflix subscribers, which is really what we've seen over the last year, is what's hurt the bottom line. So this is sort of a different business model, and I guess Wall Street likes it.
The San Francisco Giants franchise is one of the most valuable teams in Major League Baseball. We wanted something, so that's great. According to Forbes, the Giants are worth $3.7 billion, and that is the fifth most valuable behind the New York Yankees at $7.1 billion, the LA Dodgers, Boston Red Sox, Chicago Cubs, ranging in value from 4.1 to 4.1 to $4.8 billion. But San Francisco, number 5, baby.
This is
number
amazing
5.
because these baseball franchises and the game of baseball, desperate to find more fans. You know, they have fewer and fewer fans, and they're looking for different ways. That's why they're speeding up the game with the pitch clock, and that's why they're doing things at the park. Even, you know, in San Francisco, doing things at the park to increase the appeal to a younger audience. So that's wild to hear that. And as you say, we had a pretty good run, right, Commissioner? I mean, the Giants had a really good run.
Yeah, the 2010s were very kind to us, three World Series, but yeah, I don't know. We're not spending any of that money, so all those other teams that they mentioned are spending money, and hopefully we can get something next
Maybe
offseason.
spend some of that money on a couple of players. A good point.
Keeping my fingers crossed for
We're
Shohei.
number 5. Yeah. This report.
We're number 5.
We're number 5. Woo! Yeah. This report could be sponsored by you if you are looking for a sponsorship opportunity. Boy, do we have one for you. The Mark Thompson Show at gmail.com, the place to send the message to start the discussion. I'm Kim McAllister on The Mark Thompson Show.
Hey, which one of you is Mark Thompson?
Who's Mark Thompson?
The Mark Thompson Show.
What up, everybody? It is exciting. This is the second hour.
Mark's Madness.
These two drops go up against each other this hour. You'll vote either for...
Sayonara, sucker!
No, Sayonara suckers up, huh? Or...
What are the porn stars doing?
Oh! Either...
What are the porn stars doing, Mark?
Or you'll vote for Sayonara.
Sayonara, sucker!
Vote for one or the other now. You can vote in the live chat and then till midnight tonight in the community section of our YouTube channel. Good luck! Wow. On Fridays, I'm so happy to welcome these two guys. This guy has forgotten more about politics than most of us will ever know. How about Michael Shore, everyone? Yeah. And he's joined by the longtime ABC News correspondent, the senior correspondent at ABC News for so long. Covered the White House for so long. How about it for Jim Avila? Wow, look at you, Jim Avila. You out of the health situation you were in and back into real life. I like it.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
Yeah, very, very cool.
I don't know if I'm alone here, but I missed the headshot, I gotta say.
Yeah, the headshot was pretty sweet. Yeah.
It is a sweet headshot. It was like I think I sent you several of them, but you used the oldest one, which is great.
Yeah.
It makes me look like I was 50 again.
Yeah. Look at you. There you are. Hey, by the way, Albert, this is great. Commissioner, can I ask you to, I don't know if you have this information handy, but both Jim Avila and Michael Shore are playing Mark's Madness. They both did brackets, didn't they?
They do. Here's their updated standings. Here we go.
Oh, there
this
it
is for the Friday
is.
people.
Wow, look at that.
Snyder's up for the Friday guests, and then Avila and Shore, they're tied at 8 and 4 so far.
Wow. 8 wins, 4
losses. That was a tough
losses.
UCLA loss last night, wasn't it?
Yeah, you've had a rough 24 hours, Jim Avila, with UCLA.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have any 25-year-olds playing for Gonzaga anymore, Jim. So I agree with you.
Yeah, they have a guy playing. So anyway, just you're not watching on YouTube. It's these are all our Friday contributors. Michael Snyder's ahead with only having lost 3 rounds. Jim Avila 4 and Michael Shore 4 as well. Yeah, but there's still. I mean, there's still plenty of time.
I don't have a chance.
We're coming for Snyder.
Yeah. By the way, Albert's right about that. There's a Gonzaga player where he's like, what, 28
30?
or something? Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Is that
Timmy?
Didn't
he? What did he say, Albert? In the
I wasn't sure if it was him or another player I was watching, but it was in a press conference, and he actually thanked his wife. He's like, I like to thank my wife for always being there for me.
This is
and my
college.
4 kids.
Right.
Well, what a surprise. The NCAA isn't completely on the up and up. But it's, you know what's amazing? Just last thing, and then we'll move on to politics, is to see these insanely talented players in the NCAA tournament. I mean, remarkable ball handlers, shooters. I mean, just tremendous. And many of them, most of them won't make it to the NBA, right? It's just they're not big enough or whatever it is, right?
Yeah, it's a different game, too.
No.
It is a different game. That's the thing. And, Virginia won the national championship in 2019. That's right. Virginia won the national championship in 2019. And one of the guys on that team, a few of them went pro, but only one of them is a standout, and they won the national championship. And one of them's out of the league now, and one of them's kind of hanging on by a thread. So.
Virginia was your school. Is that why you repeated it?
Yeah. I mean, now obviously I'm a Furman fan because Furman beat us in the first round.
An alumnus of Virginia, Michael Shore. Oval is Stanford, by the way, I believe. Didn't you have a...
Yeah, I did not graduate.
No.
So, when I went there, but I...
Well, you didn't graduate because you decided to go play baseball, I think. Something like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not because you didn't flunk out or anything. Okay.
No, but I never went back.
Yeah, well, you're lovely and self-effacing in your own way, but the truth is you were too smart for Stanford, is the way I like to think of it. Self-effacing is a ding. All right, let's talk about things that you oftentimes lean in on, and that is the Trump poll numbers, which seem to be helped by all of this controversy around the Manhattan DA. He is front and center news night after night. Everybody wants to either opine on Trump, get your reaction to what Trump is doing. Kim had a story about how he's really, if he's not explicitly calling for violence, he's hinting at it pretty strongly. How do you break this all down politically, Jim Awala?
Well, first of all, yes, the poll numbers had a little bump, but I remind you that 40% is not going to win any election in this country. It may win the primary.
44% is what it was. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it will not win the election, and that will go down once he's indicted in several places, it appears. So I don't get panicked about his bump in numbers. These are Republican crazies who will stay with him no matter what happens. Like he said, he can shoot somebody in the middle of Fifth Avenue, and his core base will stay with him. That's the case. He will not win another general election. It just will not happen. So don't get panicked about that. What he's doing now is, again, turning off more and more independents by threatening the DA of New York City, of New York, and he's threatening, trying to stir up the crowds again, just like he did for January 6th. That is not popular among general Americans. Among the crazy people who have supported him all along, you just have to write those folks off. And I have. I don't argue with them on Facebook or Twitter. I don't talk to them. I don't acknowledge them. They are not worth it. They're not going to change their minds. Stop wasting energy on them. Don't worry about that. The only danger, in my opinion, for the Democrats at this point is if Joe Biden suffers a stroke. If there's some medical issue with Joe Biden, then I think you're going to have it opens it up for, if not Trump, I still don't think. I think Biden would beat him in a coma, but anybody else would have a chance. So that would be a problem. But otherwise, don't panic.
Michael, you share that general take on things?
I mean, I do share it, generally, yes, I do share it. I also think that these polls, whether Trump is going to do well or not, these polls this early are clearly about name recognition. They've never been about much else, and they don't really matter, and precedent says they don't matter. So you see the people with the highest name recognition, from Trump to DeSantis, whose name recognition has gone up, doing well. And Mark, I don't know if you have the poll in front of you, but if you do, I'd love to know in that poll what the don't know or undecided number is, because that to me matters more than any of these numbers.
I see. Yeah. As yet, I do have it in front
There's
of me.
There's a very good chance.
Go ahead.
there's a very good chance that somebody we're not even talking about right now will be
Yeah,
the
that's what I
Republican
mean.
nominee.
Well, that's what Michael Shore always. You make this point, and you're right, Michael. It's just it's a long way off, I guess.
But let's say that don't know or undecideds if you don't have it in
they're
front of you.
23% is the number.
That's
23%.
Well, so 23% is a huge number, and what that says to me is the Trump people, as Jim has said, are already in bed with Trump, and there's nobody who is a Trump supporter who says I don't know or I'm undecided. If you are a Trump supporter, you are a Trump supporter, done. So what that tells me is that there are people who are still looking for that other candidate. But if there is one other candidate who's going to face Trump, that 23%, the lion's share of that is either going to go to no one or it's going to go to whoever that other candidate is, if you believe this poll. That to me is the most telling number in these things. Look, it's a voter who says, I haven't made up my mind, but I know it's not going to be Donald Trump. And
that's interesting.
And that's how I read these numbers. And
I mean, look, this is a high quality poll, the Monmouth poll. I mean, it gets an A rating as a poll. So, but again, it's a question of still its believability may depend on other things. I mean, even good polls can be deceiving. Trump's at 41%.
Well, it's a snapshot in time. That's right now.
Yeah. Exactly.
Which
it's
is
March
kind
of
of irrelevant.
2023. Yeah. The president hasn't even announced that he's running again. I mean, these numbers are so young. And I don't think it's, again, it's fun. I like it. I read it, obviously, but I only put so much, into these.
If Biden did have a stroke, if something happened to Joe Biden, are the Democrats legit vulnerable in the general election?
I mean, the answer is the Democrats are vulnerable even if Biden doesn't have a stroke. So certainly they would be more vulnerable, but there are intangibles that you can't see. If there's a lot of sympathy for what's going on in the Democratic Party or with the people that would otherwise be the standard bearers if Biden were incapacitated, then you don't even know how to play that, right? I mean, there's all sorts of ways of looking at it. What it will be, it will not just be given to Kamala Harris. In fact, it would make her a candidate, and I didn't think she would be, even if Biden doesn't run. But it would make her a candidate because she would be the de facto president in this fantasy that we're talking about. And then it would be a spirited primary that could actually put more attention onto the Democrats, which could help them. Let's not root for anything like that. And my prediction may be wrong. It could doom them. But I think that, the dynamic would be so fluid at that point that it's hard to predict.
Yeah, there's so many factors, I think. First of all, whether or not Trump wins the primary, okay? If it's another candidate, maybe even DeSantis, although he's already stepped on himself with the Ukraine comments. But if it's another candidate versus not Biden in the general election, then the Republicans have a decent chance, because then the anti-Trump vote goes away. The anti-crazy vote of the independents who sometimes lean toward Republicans because they believe they think we're spending too much money. So that might help might help the Republicans. So if Biden does go away in some way, if he doesn't run or if he has some health issues, the Republicans without Trump would actually have a better chance, I think, against a Kamala Harris or against any of the others that would come forward. And it also depends on how close to the election that would happen. I mean, if that happens now or in the next few months or in the next year, that gives the Democrats the time to pick a candidate and move forward. If it happens, 3 weeks before the election, that's problematic on many fronts. So we're really doing a lot of
conjecture at this point. Yeah. These are different hypotheticals, but that I think that's such an interesting point you guys are making. I see the cultural cleavage that they're trying to get going in more and more, and they're attaching wokeness and reference to woke in more and more places. I mean, even in their budget, or in discussions of the budget, they talk about wokeness. They're mostly in disparaging the budget from the Democrats and the Biden administration. They talk about wokeness. My question is, something's happened with the Democrats. They are steering into the skid a little bit. They're talking about wokeness. They mention woke, and they, in doing it, begin to take sort of the teeth, the bite out of it. This is my sense of it, and I'm wondering how effective you feel it is to kind of go after these cultural wedge issues, but to keep attaching the sort of the woke libs to everything, Michael Shore.
Well, look, I mean, it's from the Republican playbook to come up with a wedge issue or a wedge, I guess, language for an election. It's served them well in the past. It works. So I don't blame them for going with it. And it actually seems to have some resonance. Even, if you label people as woke, and it has a negative connotation to many independents and certainly many Republicans. I guess it's too early to say about independents, but it hasn't polled well when they hear somebody is woke, even though nobody can define this elusive term. But it's an us versus them thing. And when there's an us versus them, the Republicans have succeeded, but not in an enduring way. I mean, gay marriage was the woke of a time. The wall, in essence, is both a figurative and a literal divider and wedge. And so, build the wall became something that people could recite. And so it has worked for them in the past. I don't know how much it can endure, because I don't know, when there's something that is so nebulous that people don't even know what it means, it becomes difficult. But for now, it's a 4-letter word that the Republicans are deploying, and I think probably to good effect.
Jim?
I think that Democrats have to do a better job of defining what the anti-woke sentiment is. And what it is
Exactly.
racism.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's racism, and it is also against gays and trans people. It's hate. And what the Democrats need to do is define that. Not so much worry about defining what wokeism is, but defining what anti-wokeism is. What they're even saying with the bank issue, what the Republicans are saying is that because some of these banks had to use diversity, that the banks failed. That's racism. What they're saying is because blacks were involved or brought into the process, or gays were brought into the process, the banks failed. That is hiding racism. And that is what the Democrats need to point out, is that this whole wokeism baloney is their effort to shield and to use a code word for racism.
And calling it a wedge issue is really diluting what it is. Jim's right. I mean, all these wedge issues are about us versus them, the other, and to be blunt about it, it's always about somebody who doesn't look like you. It's always about doesn't have the sexual proclivities of the majority of people in America. And so by targeting those people, what you're doing is you're galvanizing other people around that who think that there's an oddness to it or a strangeness to it. They're trying to get people to subtly agree with what they're saying. It's the old Bradley effect thing. When Tom Bradley, as a black man, ran for governor of California, everybody in polls said they were going to vote for him. They went into the booth and they couldn't. Well, if you've got this thing stuck in your head that you find a gay lifestyle abhorrent or even slightly distasteful, and you're looking between those two, that's what the Republicans are playing on. But it's racism. That's exactly what it is at its bottom line.
And the other trap here is what the Democrats need to do, in my opinion, is not get wound up in this debate about wokeism, other than to define it what it really is. But the Democrats need to stay on their issues, which are popular, which are pro-choice, which are income equality, which are making the rich people pay their share of taxes, providing a safety net for Americans, and not being cruel to those who are poor and in poverty. If the Democrats stay on policy, their policies are much more popular than the Republican policies. And so they need to, not, as Michael says, these are wedge issues that are distractions, and not get caught up in that.
And I would argue the abortion thing, I would say there's still Roe v. Wade is still overturned. If I'm a Democrat, I'm talking about that all the time. I'm also
well, it's beyond Roe v. Wade. They're going after medications that are associated with.
But in terms of putting it into the vernacular, in terms of putting it into something that people can grasp onto, and I think the Roe decision or the Dobbs decision in the midterms was such a powerful thing, but so was student loan debt, student loan relief. And I think it was sort of the underappreciated player in that election. And I don't think the Democrats should let go of that either, because that's something that younger, newer voters are going to glom onto as well. And you're looking now and seeing that, the average American is carrying $40,000, or average college student loan debt is $40,000. And that's a tremendous amount of money for someone entering the workforce. So again, I think what Jim's saying is right. That Democrats, if I were running the show, keep talking about those things.
It's interesting that we have one. Here you go. The top 100,000 taxpayers in California, for example, pay 40% of the California state income taxes. This is about taxes for, if you're voting just to get tax relief as a higher income individual, as a higher earner, then you lean GOP. I think that's reflected in that latest comment. I don't know that versus some of these things to which you've referred, you guys, that quite has what has the political horsepower that it might have in the past. When
you don't think paying your fair share of taxes is a popular way to get things done? I think paying your fair share of taxes is very, very popular.
So you think
I think people are angry.
Yeah, you'd say that that it's clear that the highest echelons of earners don't pay, and you're saying you can beat that drum and you can get political horsepower out of it.
Yeah, but Bernie Sanders got that in 2 consecutive campaigns, so I think you can. I don't think it's everybody's number one issue, but I certainly think it's an issue that unites a big number of Americans and a majority of Americans.
I guess
I think it's the root of our issues too. I've made this point before, is that income inequality is the fundamental problem that we have in this country that is causing a lot of the other issues, and that you have to attack that. And I think Biden's budget, which provides a safety net, provides things like childcare for women who can't go to work now because they have to stay home. Those type of things are very popular, and they can only be paid for by making those people who make more than $400,000 to $500,000 a year pay their fair share of taxes. And I think there's so many people below that number of $400,000 to $500,000, many more people than make more than that. That yes, it's a popular issue.
Yeah, I think it's popular. I guess I'm getting to the fact that as realities go, when the Republicans had ownership of real legislation, Senate, House, and the executive, they were able to get the tax cuts through, right? I don't know that the Democrats will get ownership. Even when they had ownership, they couldn't get that tax increase through, I wouldn't think. And I'm just wondering to what extent that really lands with those who really follow such things. The abortion thing, the right for a woman's right to choose, a woman's right to make decisions over her body, I think that lands cleanly. But if you really look at the realities on taxes, I don't mean to get too caught in the weeds, but I just don't know that you're going to get any legislation through that's actually going to...
People have also... they're accustomed to that status quo, which is why Sanders lost 2 consecutive Democratic primaries. In my belief is that they're accustomed to that, and that's sort of the way of the world. And frankly, it's been the way of the world forever. Even though we're not royalists, we elected Donald Trump to the presidency, who has been the beneficiary of all those tax breaks for such a long time. So that's an argument against what Jim and I are saying. But I think what the point that Jim is making and it comes out of the conversation about wokeism, is talk about the things that matter. Define what anti-wokeism is, as Jim said, but move past it. Don't be distracted by it, and don't let them distract from the fact that abortion's illegal. Don't let them distract from the fact that the petroleum industry pays 0% in taxes. When you say it that way, it resonates more. Talk about student loans. Talk about the income inequality in a different way. But I think there is something to what you're saying, Mark, that people are just accustomed to. This is the way it's always been. The rich get richer, and we just have to make sure that we can lift up those who aren't the rich.
Yeah. And I think there's two things here, Mark, and there's two things here. There's the reality and there's the political. So the reality may be that you're right, that they're going to have a hard time passing a tax increase on the rich. Maybe that's true. I'm not convinced of it. Maybe it's true. I'll give you that. But politically, that issue is strong, and it's a defining issue between who the Republicans are and who the Democrats are. And the Democrats need to keep pounding it that they're for the rich, we're for the masses, we're for the middle class, and they need to keep doing that. That's my point.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point too. Gentlemen, thank you. It was great too. I took Michael and Jim out to lunch yesterday. Albert and Kim. It was a kind of a,
we ran up the bill.
We don't.
What? And we talked about how we were going to run up the bill for the days leading up. The lunch was the anti-climax to how much fun we had giving Mark.
It is true. I told them they could order anything they wanted from the appetizer portion of the menu. And of course, then
nothing.
Yes. In the rich tradition of this show, you got just a little better than nothing. Love seeing you guys here on Fridays. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, sorry about your Mark's Madness. It's not over, though, until it's over.
So we're doing great. We're both tied. Nobody's afraid of Snyder. And we're fine.
The celebrity bracket, the contributor bracket is way alive. So good luck. Evelyn Shore, everybody. Thanks, guys. Love it, love it, love it.
The Mark Thompson Show.
Kim's News, we've got a hot one going. As you well know, if you're just joining us, this is the time of the season.
I can't believe it. Mark's Madness.
Yeah.
Hey, how much was lunch yesterday? What was that bill?
My God. I'll post it.
Okay.
It was, a little less than $300, I think.
What?
I know. No fun. Anyway.
That's a lot of appetizers.
Yeah.
Sayonara, sucker.
Yeah, that's one of them that we're listening to this hour.
What are the porn stars doing, Mark?
It's either Sayonara Sucker or Porn Stars. Vote now until midnight tonight in the community section of our channel. Yeah. Believe me,
it's hard. As much as I love Pat Thurston, I really love Sayonara Sucker.
Yeah,
so
you are. I think that's almost a Kim drop, that Sayonara Sucker.
Yeah.
You really love that. I should mention that, lest you think it was too decadent a lunch, Josh Mankiewicz also joined. So it was 3 people and me. And I, of course, just ordered the soup. But the addition of Mankiewicz, who started with a very modest order at lunch, but then he was goaded on by those two to run up the bill, just to kind of stick it to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of how it all went down. But we don't pay them anything, and they are here week after week, so I felt we had to give them, something to kind of to show our it was the second lunch I think I've done, but I try to space them out.
That must have been a fun lunch. Yeah, you have to. You go broke, those guys.
We talked a lot of politics. It was kind of like being on a show,
Yeah.
But you can imagine with that crowd. Smash the like button like a boss.
Smash it with your iron rod.
Hit me with a thumbs up. We need that thumbs up. It's free. If you're here anyway, just smash it.
Smash it with your iron rod.
I don't see why you'd want to do anything but smash it with a thumbs up. Snyder next on all things movies, television, and more. Mark Thompson Show.
On the Mark Thompson Show, I'm Kim McAllister. A top Democrat says former President Trump his warning about possible violence. Here's the picture of him with a baseball bat aimed toward the other picture of the head of the New York prosecutor.
Again, that's a picture that Trump posted. Trump posted this. This is not like a mashup that we put in there.
And then he said there would be violence if he's indicted. And now a top Democrat saying former President Trump's warning about possible violence if he is indicted by a New York City grand jury is reprehensible and it is dangerous. That is what House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries told reporters. The grand jury is considering whether to indict Trump in connection with an alleged payment to adult film actress Stormy Daniels to stay quiet about their affair. A former senior Trump White House official reportedly being ordered to testify about the 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol. It is Mark Meadows. ABC is saying that a federal judge rejected exclusive privilege claims in ordering former Chief of Staff Mark Meadows to appear before a grand jury. He's got to get out there and do it. It is probing the events that led up to the January 6th riot. Officials are investigating why the main air defense system at a U.S. military base in Syria was not fully operational. Here's one of those missiles headed toward that base today. A suspected Iranian drone hit the installation Thursday, killing a U.S. contractor and injuring other Americans. The New York Times reports officials are looking into whether the Avenger missile defense system may have been experiencing unexpected maintenance issues at the time of that attack. Patients treated with the antiviral drug Paxlovid may have a lower risk of what is known as getting long COVID. That's the case with Paxlovid. A new study says taking Paxlovid within 5 days of coming down with COVID could reduce the long COVID risk by 26%.
That's huge. That's really huge. And because the downside to Paxlovid was always that there would be a rebound, that while it would take an edge off of your initial blast with COVID, that you'd get a rebound effect. And the rebound effect was frequent enough that it was really talked about as something that was, fairly common when you took Paxlovid.
Sure.
You'd be getting over COVID and then it would come back 10 days later and hit you sometimes even harder. But the notion that Paxlovid could help with long COVID and keeping you from getting long COVID,
I'd say that's worth a rebound, right?
Yes, exactly. That's the overwhelming concern of those when it comes to COVID-19. Yeah.
If you're interested in more, that research appears in the journal JAMA Internal Medicine.
JAMA.
Jamming. I want to jam it with you.
With Paxlovid too.
The California lifting some water restrictions as drought conditions improve this winter. Get my little drought picture up there. The California state increasing the deliveries in the state water project from 30% now to 75%, and removing some restrictions, including the call for 15% voluntary conservation. The state is also removing the level 2 mandates that had requested local water agencies put conservation plans in place. Governor Gavin Newsom says the state is still in a groundwater deficit, and there are still drought issues with the Colorado River. So some other restrictions will remain in place, including outdoor watering at commercial buildings.
What?
Yeah, what are you going to do?
Well, but most of the good news in all of that is that most of these drought restrictions, we were staring down the barrel of a serious water problem this summer. Many of those have been lifted.
There's never been anything like this.
Okay.
Let's go to the Currys, because an NBA superstar is teaming up with the President's Council on Sports, Fitness, and Nutrition. Steph Curry of the Golden State Warriors has been appointed alongside his wife, Ayesha. The White House says the council aims to promote healthy, accessible eating and physical activity for all Americans. Speaking of eating and food, Panera Bread is going high tech. They will soon be able to They will soon be able to greet customers by name thanks to a scan of their palm. The fast food chain announcing this week it will be rolling out Amazon One technology that will allow customers to link their loyalty accounts to their handprints.
What?
Panera's CEO said the palm scans will make it even easier for guests to access their rewards and have more of a customized cafe experience. The Amazon One technology,
black and white, clear as crystal.
Yeah, right there in the palm of my hand.
The Amazon One technology has come under fire in New York City, where it is the subject of a lawsuit accused of not complying with biometric data laws. Panera said the use of the technology will be optional for now. Bum, bum, bum.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Okay.
I know you're not going to like this story, Mark, but New York City's search for a rat czar seems to be coming to an end.
Oh,
Mayor
no.
Adams tells the reporters that he has narrowed down the search to one person and that the decision will be made public soon. He didn't say when, only revealing the rat czar will be a woman. More than 1,000 people have applied to the job.
No.
Since the city posted it back in December, calling for this rat czar to be bloodthirsty and have a vehemence for rodents.
Wow.
The person in charge of
There's
New York
never been
City's
anything
so-called
like this.
war on rats would be making upwards of $120,000 a year.
Well,
There's never been anything like it.
yeah.
I love that.
Man.
Somewhat bloodthirsty. Somewhat.
Yeah.
Highly
Somewhat
motivated.
bloodthirsty. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'm Kim McAllister on the Mark Thompson Show.
The Mark Thompson Show.
Yes, everybody. Thank you, Kim McAllister, and thank you, everyone. Thank you to the commissioner of Mark's Madness. He is the wonderful Albert. And
Albert, thank you.
I wonder if you could update us on what's happening with Mark's Madness from the first hour. Yeah, because the first hour, 2 different drops than we're dealing with this hour. Can you update the latest numbers, please, Commissioner?
Yeah, so the live vote was about 70% going towards...
It was Good Day, Sir, against Larry King. What can you tell us about the scene?
Yeah, good day, sir. So it's looking good for that drop. It's a popular one. It's on a mug, you know.
Oh,
Is
that's
it on
true.
a mug?
Yeah, it's on a mug.
I think it is.
I don't know if it is actually on a mug, but yeah. So Good Day, Sir leads, but again, it's till midnight tonight, the voting in the community section.
And the numbers are looking the same this hour for Sayonara Sucka. It's looking really good.
So Kim loves her Sayonara.
Sayonara, sucker!
Yeah, I do love Sayonara,
this
sucker.
I'll tell you, I thought porn
What are the porn stars doing, Mark?
I thought that went deep last year, and I may have jumped on it this year, Commissioner. I forget what I did.
Deep?
It did. I know what you're doing there.
I don't want it to reveal your bracket, Mark, because there's agents of chaos out there. But it's looking good so far for you.
All right. Anyway, I'm excited. You can vote till midnight tonight. Again, you click on the icon. It's a little mug, right? And
yeah, you just need to make it to our channel page. So if you click on any of our YouTube videos, just click anything with any Mark Thompson branding, and you'll eventually make it to the YouTube channel. And just look for the community tab, and then from there.
I will mention, and then and we're voting till midnight. And
also in your subscription boxes, if you do subscribe to the Mark Thompson Show, it will be there amongst all the new videos. So if you're just scrolling through YouTube, it'll be there, and you could go vote.
All right. Well, there's that too. I will, and quickly, and then I'll bring you on, Michael Snyder. I just want to mention that we are a crowd-funded show. You know that one of the great things about Steve Moskowitz was that he got us launched, and he was only going to be on for 3 months, and he extended and was really loving being here. But the relationship has now ended, and so now he had bought an exclusive sponsorship. That's why you never heard any other commercials. And that's why Kim now says there's sponsorship opportunities. So if you have a business or service in the Bay Area, you can approach us about being part of our show. And hopefully we'll get the word out and help your business in whatever way we can. You can reach us at themarkthompsonshow@gmail.com. But until we get another sponsor, we're really crowdfunded. So we really live and die on your donations. So
you could sponsor a newscast and think of all the wacky things you could make me say, right? I mean, hey, I'm reading this. I'm reading it exactly as you've written it. So
yeah,
it might be worth it just for that alone.
The Mark Thompson Show at gmail.com. And if you want to contribute and be part of our Patreon community and part of our PayPal community, it's themarkthompsonshow.com. And you just click on contribute. There's a link to Patreon. There's a link to PayPal. So he comes to us every Friday. He writes for the Marina Times, movies, TV, music, clubs, live performances, festivals. He follows it all, and he comes and goes on a rainbow. He is Michael Snyder, everyone. And hold on, Michael Snyder. I got to do something here. Now, try speaking now. Go ahead. No, hold on. I have you on a... try again, Michael. Hi. Hold on. This is unbelievable.
What is
Try
happening?
again, Michael.
You're a
show?
technical marvel.
There
You are a
are.
technical.
Wow.
I mean, I'm so excited. It's
Whoever is producing
Friday.
this
I
thing.
mean, I come to the show
Thanks, Tony.
with a head of steam, and I get everything is.
Tony showed me how to bring you in, and then I forgot.
Oh my God!
Yeah, anyway,
I spend a little time every Friday morning on the lines. On Instagram, on TikTok.
Sure.
By the way,
Yeah,
speaking of TikTok, wait, shout out to my data farmer friends in Shanghai. Hey, everybody.
Wow.
What do you, so I'm noticing people in the socials referring to today as Friday, thank God it's Friday, but Friday.
I get it.
That makes me a little uneasy. I don't know about you.
Yeah.
I mean,
a lot of things make me uneasy.
Whenever I hear Wednesday referred to as Hump Day, for instance, I can't help but imagine Quasimodo astride a camel that has like a dog going at it on the front leg. I hear Hump Day.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll ding astride though.
Okay.
Let me just. I had a question for you, but
Sure.
I've forgotten what. Oh, I know. I wanted to mention you're doing very well in Mark's Madness. You're ahead of our other contributors.
Well, I have a good instinct about what the people want.
Michael Snyder is 9-3. That's what you see on your screen now. 3 losses, 9 wins. The other contributors, Avila and Shore, I'm talking about Friday contributors
Sure.
now. We'll get to Spencer Christian next week. We'll update that. Jim Avila has only 8 wins, as does Michael Shore. You're ahead by 1 win.
I probably hampered my success by getting behind the Jim Avila drop, which I just wanted to. I wanted to support my Friday buddy.
Yeah.
And that didn't make it through to the next round.
I'm on the phone.
Yeah, I wanted to give that a little love, and of course,
Right.
all I did was shoot
Right.
myself in the foot there.
Yeah.
Speaking of
Yeah.
Jim and Michael, it's equally disgraceful and poetic and sad that the constituents of politicians deriding wokeness are the people most likely to be zonked out on opioids. Have you thought about that?
Oh, yeah. Deriding, I'll hit in the ding. You better get to it, my friend. We don't have much time.
Well, you have.
Did you see the John Wick movie?
Why don't you just relax and we'll get to the biggest film of the week right here and right now. That is, of course, John Wick. And John Wick, some people think John Wick is whack. I do not. John Wick Chapter 4. The latest installment in the mega popular blood-splattered action movie series is here. And it may look like the title character is offering a cure for overpopulation as the seemingly indestructible super assassin Wick, played once more by Keanu Reeves, takes out literal legions of trained killers trying to murder him. But I wouldn't treat that as any kind of legitimate guide or go-to in terms of population control. It might help in certain small areas because he definitely leaves a trail of bodies. Anyway, when we last left him in Chapter 3, the global organization that happily used him as a quick and deadly weapon for hire has now put a bounty on his head that increases with every opponent he eliminates, which brings out even more potential Vic slayers. His former handler in New York, Winston the Manager, played once more by Ian McShane. The shadowy armorer in Gang Boss the Bowery King, played again by Lawrence Fishburne. And Sharon, the concierge, played by the late Lance Reddick, can only do so much to help Wick, as 2 of his most ruthless and relentless adversaries are determined to get rid of him once and for all. Kane is one of them. He's played by the Hong Kong action superstar Donnie Yen. And then there's the Marquis, played by Bill Skarsgård, who you may recall as Pennywise the Clown from It, only here he's more an aristocratic Eurotrash type than a supernatural creepazoid. So it's a little different, but he's still pretty threatening. In any event...
I would ding creepazoid. I don't know. Go ahead.
It's a coinage, but go right ahead.
No.
If you've seen the 3 previous John Wick movies starring Keanu Reeves in his greatest role, in my opinion, you know what you're in for. Nonstop ultra-violence, frenetic and sometimes creative slaughter.
Frenetic's a dang word.
crazy car and motorbike chases that would make the Fast and the Furious pull over to the side of the road. I mean, this
Wow,
stuff
really?
is, oh yeah, it's nuts.
He's on a motorcycle ever?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because he's a real motorcycle guy, I think, Keanu.
Well, you know, and I think a lot of these guys do their own stunts.
I don't think Keanu's one of them, but maybe.
Well, maybe, you know, I think.
I don't know.
I hope. So if you're
I think he does do his own stunts. He's also
look at you, Albert.
Thank you,
on.
Albert.
Very rare commissioner interruption to make sure we get that information,
If
and
you're,
I like it.
If
I
you're
like
eager
it.
for more of the wild and acrobatic mayhem that has been the trademark of the other chapters of Wick's saga, you're going to love John Wick Chapter 4. Directed at a blistering pace with slashes of sly wit by Chad. I guess Stahelski is the way you pronounce the guy's name.
Mm-hmm.
He really is, you know, in charge of this, and it really rocks in many, many ways. It's exactly what fans expect, and even more. Consider the number of on-screen killings essayed by Wick, his occasional allies, and his horde of enemies. At the screening I attended, this is no joke, my friend Hugh used one of those clickers that allowed doormen to get an accurate count of the patrons at an event.
Sure.
And we checked the clicker at the end of the movie, and it showed that a total of 194 dead bodies piled up over the course of the movie's 2-hour and 45-minute running time. And the count, honestly, might be a little short due to some massive battles between frenzied gangs in an Osaka hotel, when it was kind of hard to keep track of who was getting blown apart by flying bullets or sliced and diced by swords and knives.
Wow.
There's a long climactic sequence, by the way, Mark, that plays out across the city of Paris, ending at a very famous tourist spot that features, I would call it the Mount Everest of staircases, and it is frankly one of the most outrageous, jaw-dropping, and hilarious symphonies of bedlam I've ever seen.
Do you need to have seen the other three?
I think it wouldn't hurt. I think you need to see a previous film just to know whether you'd be okay for this, because you may go in and think, this is mindless violence, and that might be your thing.
Mindless Violence probably was the working title. By the way, My Friend Hugh is the name of a movie. I don't know. When you say My Friend Hugh, I think, oh, that's really a movie, My Friend Hugh.
I would go see that film. You know, look.
And the other thing is Assad. I will ding the use of the word Assad.
Well, as usual, Reeves as...
What's that? Go ahead, Kim. Yeah.
He also dings Symphonies of Bedlam.
No, those are 3 words,
No,
Kim.
I will not.
I mean, the combination is rather...
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's good. He's a good wordsmith, but we don't ding that, Kim.
Look, as usual,
Kim, how are you?
I'm sorry, Kim. I don't mean that. I really don't mean. I want to back you up. You know that.
Good day,
no,
sir.
that's not the point. I love Kim.
Look,
I can't just ding anything.
Reviewing these things is a chore. Let me tell you, when you guys are jumping in like this.
We do have processes, protocols, and standards.
Like our friend and our commissioner has said, Reeves as Wick is probably doing a lot of these stunts. He takes the licking and keeps on ticking and shooting and stabbing and strangling. The Michelin Man should bounce back as effortlessly as Keanu Reeves in this movie. It's in theaters where it should be seen in all its bombastic glory. John Wick Chapter 4. The fans are going to love it. Those of you not familiar with the John Wick saga, such as it is, maybe not your thing.
Kim, would you like to suggest him? There is a ding that he just used. Would you like to come back in? I didn't.
No, I've had it with you people. I've had it with you.
Kim,
you good day, sir.
Nothing. No,
I mean, Symphonies of Bedlam. Come on, that's poetry.
Bombastic is the word I thought you might come. Bombastic.
Where is the Frye love, Kim?
Look, no one is tougher on themselves on this show than I am. I'm tougher on myself than anyone.
Well,
and I can't just go dinging symphonies or whatever the guy said.
Let's move on.
Yeah,
let's move on.
This is a man with anger. This is a man that has resentment towards you.
Oh my God!
Dude.
What an odd way to wrap up. Are you wrapping up?
I'm hardly wrapping up because you keep thwarting every attempt. You know, a good person.
You've only just begun.
A good person is a drama about guilt, redemption, and the perils of pill addiction that was written and directed by, get this, Zach Braff, the comedic actor who did the same, writing and directing for the wispy rom-com Garden State that teamed him on screen with Natalie Portman. So Braff, he stays behind the camera for a good person, and the heavy lifting is left to ascendant British actress Florence Pugh and her unlikely co-star Morgan Freeman. And Pugh is one of my favorite actresses
Alding
lately.
Ascendant. Go ahead.
Her impressive career to date has had her doing a literary period piece as one of Louisa May Alcott's Little Women, sinister horror in the chilling Midsummer, Middle Eastern espionage in the miniseries Little Drummer Girl, comic book superheroics as Yelena Belova in Marvel's Black Widow and other MCU stuff, and so on and so on. In A Good Person, she's playing Allison, who is a kind of a blithe young American woman.
Blythe is a ding.
About to marry the love of her life when a tragic accident brings her world crashing down around her, crippled by pain and remorse and depression and zonked on painkillers. Hey, she must be one of the unwoke. Anyway, she finally tries to address her problems and finds herself in a confrontation with a guy named Daniel, who is a cantankerous older man.
Cantankerous is cleanly a ding word, yes.
Victimized by the same tragedy that laid Allison low. So will she clean up her act and make peace with Daniel? Daniel was played by Freeman, and his rapport with Pugh and her fully committed performance and their antidotes to the cliched melodramatic aspects of Braff's script. You know, I'll watch Pugh in anything. She always manages to elevate any material she takes on, even last year's Less Than Successful, Don't Worry, Darling. And she does it again here, bringing blood, sweat, and tears to Allison's struggle. Pugh makes A Good Person, which might have otherwise been a mediocre movie, worth watching. The quick casting note, ex-SNL cast member Molly Shannon, whose specialty is her specialty has always seemed to be annoying extreme characters that get on my nerves. She's here. She plays Allison's mom, and guess what? She gets on my nerves. Anyway, A Good Person is in theaters now and worth a look for Pugh and Freeman when it comes to streaming, which it will shortly, I am certain.
Good. What else do you have?
The Lost King is a dramedy about the genuine 21st century search for the remains of King Richard III, and it stars Oscar nominee and Golden Globe winner Sally Hawkins, who was in The Shape of Water and Blue Jasmine, with the ever-appealing Hawkins well cast as the movie's heart and soul. This is a pleasantly quirky, modern-day treasure hunt spiced with a little dash of magical realism. The script is by Hawkins' co-star in the movie, Steve Coogan, the guy who was in The Trip.
Is so talented.
And he was in, he's Alan Partridge in all the films and TV shows.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
He's very, very funny and very talented. This is based on the true story of a Scottish office worker determined to uncover the bona fide remains and the location of the remains of King Richard III and rehabilitate the villainous image he's always had because of Shakespeare.
Sure.
And it's directed by Stephen Frears. The Lost King seems like a trifle next to Frears' more impactful and acclaimed movies like, I don't know, Dangerous Liaisons and The Queen, but it's authentic, fascinating quest and this plucky against the odds and establishment heroine.
Plucky, I'll give.
They're engaging enough to make a recommendation here. Currently, it is coming into theaters. And I guess May 9th, it'll be streaming. It's called The Lost King.
Wow. So, they're looking for the remains, but they're not. It's not like Jurassic Park where they bring back King Richard because they find the remains, uses DNA, and they.
Well, she has visions after seeing a performance of King Richard where his spirit enjoined her. She wants. You going to find my remains? No, I don't.
There's never been
King
anything
Richard's
like
voice.
this.
It's pretty crazy. But quickly, I have a real blatant, unvarnished recommendation for you. It's called Tori and Lokita.
Okay.
It's a very sad and soulful human drama that was directed and co-written by the veteran Belgian filmmakers and brothers Luc and Jean-Pierre Dardenne. It follows a pair of African immigrant kids, a girl named Lokita and a boy named Tori, as they navigate life in Belgium. So, watching out for one another and desperate to survive in a foreign country, they pass themselves off as an older sister and younger brother, but they need money. And first and foremost, it's because Lokita wants to send cash back to her mother in Africa. But
my God, my heart's breaking already.
But the girl has another problem that is going to cost quite a few more euros. She requires the proper identification papers in order to safely live and work in Belgium. The duo's main source of income, this is This is a killer. It comes from dealing drugs for a nasty local restaurant owner.
Oh, my God.
And unfortunately, the price of the ID papers is so high that Lokita has to make a dangerous choice.
Oh, no.
What Torian Lokita says about the perils facing the oppressed and the dislocated, especially immigrant kids, on their own is shamefully relevant and should be heard. The story here is told in a very simple, straightforward fashion, and the result is the most heartbreaking movie by the Dardennes that I've seen, and I've seen a number of them that were also gritty and potent looks at the less fortunate in modern society. I wholeheartedly recommend it, even if it does get 2 tears on the Snyder cryometer.
Wow.
By the way, Torian Lokita won the 75th anniversary prize at the 2022 Cannes Film Festival, and I guess it was well-deserved. It's in theaters, select theaters this weekend, New York, L.A., maybe San Francisco.
Tell me that she makes it back to her mom, please.
I
I just
spoilers.
can't take it.
No spoilers.
I
Torian
have
Lokita.
so much sadness, Michael. I can't take all the sadness.
No, I can't break your heart any further, so I'll hold off on any other films
All right.
today.
I am delighted, though, to review John Wick Chapter 4. Michael Snyder. It's a symphony of violence and Wick. Wick doing everything right and doing it fast and doing it violently. It's in theaters. A good person. The script, not that great, but the performances, excellent.
Absolutely.
And he feels as though the performances made up for the tepid nature of the script. Tepid is a ding word.
A few cliches at play there.
Yeah. That's one of the problems you felt with the script, that too many, maybe, kind of hack sort of dramatic.
Clean up your act, man.
Yeah.
It's one of those things.
That's in theaters. The Lost King, the true story, dramedy, trying to find the remains of Richard III, the king. Sally Hawkins, brilliant.
As ever.
Steve Coogan, also brilliant as the writer and performer, I guess.
Yeah, he wrote this thing, and he plays her estranged husband who just has had enough of her digging up parking lots looking for the bones.
Estranged, I'll ding. Tori and Lokita, the sad, soulful story, directed by Luc and Jean-Pierre Dardin. Navigating life in Belgium, these kids who need money. They want to send the sister back to Africa to the mother. It captured my heart just hearing the summary.
Oh, man.
Lokita has to make a dangerous choice. I don't know what. But he loved it. He absolutely loved it.
I did, and so did the judges at Cannes. One quick note, Agent Elvis has started on Netflix. It's an animated thing featuring Elvis Presley in the early 70s, recruited against his will to a secret organization, an espionage ensemble. And, dude, it was co-created by Priscilla Presley. And it features her as Priscilla and as, this is the best, as Elvis, Matthew McConaughey. And one more thing, our friend Tom Kenny is the voice of Elvis's pet chimpanzee Scatter. And I'm telling you, it is hilarious and strange and features real Elvis Presley music because Priscilla probably controls the estate. And if you get a chance and you can get with it, Agent Elvis on Netflix.
Netflix, okay, good. You can read him in the Marina Times, see him kicking around the city, comes and goes on a rainbow. Bye, Michael.
Bye, y'all.
So you'll ding Estranged, but you won't ding, what did he say? Something of Bedlam? Estranged is rather
Symphonies
pedestrian.
or something like that.
Symphony of Bedlam? Yeah, Symphony of Bedlam. But you ding, I think your dinger's off today.
I will tell you that it's straightforward. This is not even a...
Estranged isn't dingable. Estranged is, as I said.
Estranged is an SAT word.
No.
What is the word that you want to ding in Symphony of whatever you wanted to ding?
Bedlam. Bedlam probably would be more dingable than Estranged.
Well, then say, I think you should ding Bedlam. You said, don't you want to ding Symphony of Bedlam? No, Symphony of Bedlam is 3 words. We don't ding 3 words.
The words together were beautiful.
I agree,
I
Kim.
Thank
I
you,
agree that,
Albert.
Why are you
they were
yelling?
beautiful, but I won't. It unfortunately can't be dinged. I've also been on this the wrong end of this, trying to ding phrases.
It's so straightforward. That's what I don't understand about this.
We have processes and protocols and standards.
Thank you, Albert. We have processes, protocols, and standards, and they're so simple. How dare you violate them?
Why are you yelling?
Commentator agrees, says, yeah, Mark, your dinger's off.
You know what? I get it. To dump on me is fun. But the reality is we do have certain bylaws, and we must abide by them.
Dinger's on fire.
On fire! So, I want to.
We got some shout outs to do before we wrap up, and then
we do it. We have shout outs to do. We have shout outs to do. How dare you double back to something that's bankrupt of any legitimacy?
Whatever.
And all right, Albert, hang on a second.
The Mark Thompson Show.
I also want to quickly, if I can, and I know we're just a couple minutes late, but I want to quickly.
Mark's Madness.
We're in the middle of a real good day with Mark's Madness, so I want to again remind you: you vote now for either
Sayonara, sucker!
or you vote for the Thurston drop, which is
What are the porn stars doing, Mark?
That's right, either porn stars.
What are the porn stars doing, Mark?
Or Kim's favorite, which is
Sayonara, sucker!
Vote now, and you can vote till midnight tonight in the community section of YouTube on our channel. All right, now, Albert, please, without any further delay, I want to thank everybody who stepped up today. Super stickers, super chats. That's one way to support us on an ongoing basis. We're crowd-funded. Thank you for being the crowd with the funds. Very, very cool. What's first, Albert? I leave it to you. Super sticker from Mrs. Y. Thank you for $1.49. Super sticker shout out.
Big shout out.
Yeah. Find us at the MarkThompsonShow.com. Kelly Malloy for a couple of bucks. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you know. Jan Carpenter for $4.99 super sticker. Thank you, Jan, for a $5. Vivian, same story with a 10 spot. Thank you, Vivian El Shawa, for a super sticker. Thank you so very much. John Woodward for $1. Thank you for throwing that into the virtual tip jar, John. And the Lady Beatrice for a 5 spot. This is what happens when there are no boundaries at home. Little Karen.
I think this is what with the helicopter.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the Sofia Coppola thing. Yeah. Thank you. Well, of course, she's being completely indulged at home. Luis for a 10 spot. Here you go, Kim. Buy yourself some light to put inside your body to kill the infection.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Supposing you brought the light inside the body.
And thank you for the 10 spot super sticker.
Big shout out.
Big shout out to all of you who are rocking a 10 spot. Vilma too.
Big shout out.
Yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate all of this. Makes a difference. The Lady Beatrice, they have more than enough to send Trump to jail for life. I wish the court would stop sitting on the indictment and just arrest him, the Lady Beatrice said in Super Chat. At some point, you know. Sandra Thomas for $5 super sticker. Thank you.
Shout out.
Big shout out, Sandra, and to all of you, Vilma and the rest. Karen Q for a 10 spot. Fabulous Friday friends. Thank you all.
Big shout out.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Gail Guthrie for $20. Come on, Gail. I'm going to give
really
you a
nice.
thank you. Thank you, Gail. All of
And
you
we got a
who
rare round number donation by our friend, a very, very nice friend, a Hall of Famer here, Calvin.
Long. He is the shadow producer of this show. And that,
I'm not gonna cry.
that is cry-worthy. $50 super sticker from Calvin Wong.
I'm not gonna cry.
But I do need a second. Calvin, I adore you. Thank you.
Thank you.
In fact, I appreciate it very, very much. Wow. Sandra Thomas with another super sticker.
Wow.
This is really, really great. Thank you guys, all of you who've helped make it happen. You know, couldn't do it without you. And I'm looking to see if there's, will you let them know how they can support the show while I look for this? Yes.
Yes, the Mark Thompson Show at Gmail, themarkthompsonshow.com. You can click contribute. You'll find the Patreon, the PayPal right there on the website, ready to go. And thank you for anything that you contribute to the show.
Yeah, there it is. themarkthompsonshow.com. Click to our Patreon. And by the way, coming up, you'll see it right now. The top Patreon contributors' names are in huge letters. And then we list everybody who contributes either on PayPal or Patreon. So as you add your name and your monies to support us, we will acknowledge you as well. It's Good Days. Yeah, Good Day, Sir versus Larry King is still live till midnight tonight in Mark's Madness. Sayonara Sucker versus Pat. And the What Are the Porn Stars Doing, Mark? That is also alive in the community section of our YouTube channel. Good Day, Sir versus What's the Scene? And Sayonara Sucker versus What Are the Porn Stars Doing? Have a great weekend, all.
I'm Shadow Stevens for The Mark Thompson Show. Bye-bye.
Kim, I love you. Albert, I love you. All of you who've joined, I love you too. I know, I'm just getting the love out. Till Monday. Bye-bye.